A folded note slid under her plate, slipped by a trembling waitress. The black billionaire unfolded it beneath the table, and her heart stopped. The words were brutal. The hotel owner had spat in her food. Around her, laughter echoed. Crystal chandeliers sparkled, and piano music played as if nothing was wrong. She sat frozen in her silk dress, one of the richest women in the country, yet targeted with hate in the most degrading way. The waitress avoided her eyes, fear etched on her face. Suspense filled the air, sharp and suffocating. If this happened to you, would you expose the truth or stay silent? The hotel was a monument to wealth, a palace of marble floors and glittering chandeliers. Its reputation stretched across the city, known as a place of luxury and privilege. At the center of it all was its owner, a proud white businessman who often boasted that his empire was built on exclusivity. He carried himself with the air of a man who believed he owned not just the building, but the people who walked through its doors. Tonight, one guest stood apart, a black woman in her early 40s. Wrapped in elegance, walked with quiet confidence to her reserved table. She was no ordinary guest. She was a billionaire, self-made, her name respected across continents. She had built her fortune with intelligence and vision, and she used her influence to support education, healthcare, and justice for those who had none. To the world, she was a symbol of resilience. To herself, she was simply a woman who had fought for dignity her whole life. Yet whispers followed her wherever she went. Some admired her brilliance, others hid envy behind polite smiles. Even here, among golden cutlery and hushed voices, she could feel the unspoken tension. Behind the scenes, staff gossiped as they prepared the dining hall. Some spoke with awe at serving such a figure, but others muttered bitterly, their jealousy rising with every word. Among them moved a young waitress, her uniform neat but her eyes heavy with fatigue. She was working double shifts to provide for her family, and she had seen more than anyone realized. She had witnessed the hotel owner's smirks, his subtle comments, the quiet cruelty he reserved for those he thought beneath him. When the time came to serve the lobster, her steps faltered. Her hands trembled as she balanced the plate, her heart racing with fear. Something in her eyes revealed that this dinner was about to change everything. The billionaire lowered her gaze to the plate in front of her. The lobster glistened under the warm light, yet something felt wrong. A faint, unpleasant odor rose with the steam. She set her fork down, her instinct warning her that this meal was not as it appeared. The young waitress stepped closer, her movements stiff, her voice so soft it almost vanished into the music. "Check the note, please." Her eyes darted away as she spoke, fear written across her face. The billionaire's fingers brushed against the folded slip of paper hidden by the edge of the plate. She opened it carefully beneath the table. The words stabbed into her like a knife. "Do not eat." He spat in it. "I am sorry." Her heart clenched, her chest tightening as shock and disgust surged through her. For a moment she could not breathe. She was a billionaire, one of the most powerful women in the nation. Yet all her wealth, all her influence, could not shield her from the sting of humiliation. This was not about money. This was about hate. Her eyes lifted, steady but burning inside. Across the dining hall behind the kitchen window, the owner stood watching her. His posture was relaxed, his smile twisted, his satisfaction clear. He wanted to see her reaction. He wanted to enjoy her silence. Around her, guests at nearby tables laughed freely, their jokes filling the air, blind to the cruelty unfolding only feet away. The clash between luxury and degradation pressed on her like a weight, the injustice so sharp it demanded an answer. Would you keep quiet to avoid a scene, or confront the man who thinks your dignity is disposable? She did not move quickly. She did not shout. Instead, the billionaire's hand glided across the table, pushing the lobster plate away as if it had never belonged there. Her expression was calm, unreadable, her silence louder than any words. The owner chose that moment to stroll across the dining hall. His shoes tapped against the marble, his shoulders squared with the pride of a man who believed he owned the room. He stopped by her table, bowing his head in a shallow act of politeness. "How is everything tonight?" he asked, his tone smooth, his smirk betraying the truth. "We made sure your meal had special attention." Every syllable carried arrogance, a taunt carefully disguised as courtesy. The staff nearby shifted uneasily. A waiter polishing glasses paused mid-motion, his eyes flicking to the scene before him. A hostess looked away quickly, biting her lip as if pretending not to notice. They had seen this before. They knew what it meant, yet none of them dared to speak. Their silence was not agreement. It was fear of losing everything. The young waitress stood frozen near the corner, guilt pulling at her shoulders. Her chest rose and fell quickly, waiting for anger, waiting for blame. Instead, the billionaire glanced at her with calm eyes. A faint nod followed, small but powerful. It was a message only she could read. You did the right thing. Without warning, the billionaire reached for her phone. For a brief second, it seemed she might call security or the police, or perhaps walk out altogether. Instead, her thumb slid across the screen, and the camera opened. Hidden by her stillness, she began to record. Every gesture, every word, every twisted smirk was captured. The owner had no idea the trap had already begun to close around him. If you were in her place, would you expose him now, or wait until the world could see? The owner returns to her table, his smile stretched too wide to be genuine. He leans just close enough to make his presence feel intrusive, dropping casual insults disguised as jokes. Every word carries a sting, each remark a reminder that he believes she does not belong here. His arrogance is painted in every gesture, every smirk that lingers too long. He starts bragging about his hotel, about the standards that make it so exclusive, his tone thick with superiority. As he speaks, his eyes lock on her, daring her to challenge him, as though her silence would only confirm his belief. Around them, the room begins to feel heavier. Guests at nearby tables sense the tension but remain silent, some exchanging nervous glances while others pretend not to notice. No one dares to interrupt. At the table, the billionaire sits motionless, her posture regal yet unnervingly calm. Her jaw tightens slightly, but she offers no reaction. Her silence carries more weight than any argument. It unsettles him, but he hides it with another laugh, another joke that falls flat. The waitress hovers close by, pretending to clear a table, but her hands tremble. She knows what is unfolding, terrified that at any second, the fragile balance will shatter. Finally, the billionaire looks up. Her voice is soft, but the words slice sharper than any shout. Do you treat all your guests like this, she asks, or only the ones who remind you of your own failures? For the first time, the owner freezes. The color drains from his face. It is as if she has pulled back a curtain, revealing something he thought no one could see. His smirk falters, his arrogance cracks. He thought he held the power. But what happens when the real power reveals itself? The billionaire rises from her seat with a calm, steady grace that immediately commands the entire room. Conversations halt. Forks freeze midair. The restaurant falls into silence as every eye turns to her. In her hand, she holds the folded note. Slowly, deliberately, she raises it high enough for everyone to see. Her voice carries across the dining room, steady and clear. She explains what this note represents, the risk the waitress took by writing it, and the vile act the owner ordered against her food. Gasps ripple through the guests. Some cover their mouths in shock. Others turn to glare at the owner. The man forces a nervous laugh, waving a dismissive hand. He tries to frame it as a misunderstanding, a harmless joke, even a fabrication. But before his lies can take root, the waitress steps forward. Her hands tremble, her voice shakes, but she speaks the truth for all to hear. She confirms everything. The room grows heavier, and whispers sweep through the crowd. The billionaire lets the silence stretch before she delivers the final blow. With calm certainty, she reveals who she really is. She is not simply a guest dining in his restaurant. She is one of the wealthiest women in the nation. Her foundation holds ownership stakes in multiple luxury chains, businesses far larger and more respected than his. The revelation lands like thunder. The owner's confidence evaporates. His face turns pale. His posture collapses under the weight of her words. The man who thought he controlled the night now stands exposed before everyone. The truth was out, but what punishment could ever match the humiliation he had caused? The billionaire's voice cuts through the heavy silence, firm and unshaken. She repeats the owner's own words back to him. Every insult he threw, disguised as a joke. Every cruel remark he made while boasting about his so-called standards. Then she looks him in the eye and asks, with steel in her tone, if this is the standard he is so proud of. The room reacts instantly. Guests erupt in outrage, their voices rising in protest. Phones come up, recording every second of the confrontation, ensuring the world will see. The owner shifts uncomfortably under the weight of dozens of eyes and the lens of countless cameras. The waitress, once trembling and unsure, now stands taller, emboldened by the billionaire's presence. She moves to stand at her side, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. The billionaire raises her chin and declares she will never allow cruelty and humiliation to go unanswered again. Her next words strike harder than any insult could. She announces calmly but decisively that she will acquire the hotel chain itself, and that the man standing before her will be dismissed effective immediately. The reaction is electric. Guests cheer, some clap furiously. Others chant her name, their energy filling the room. The owner's bravado collapses entirely. His shoulders slump, his face twists with shame, and security steps forward to escort him out. His pride, once towering, is shattered before the crowd. The billionaire then turns to the waitress, her expression softening. She thanks her for the courage it took to speak the truth, and in front of everyone, she offers her a new career under her foundation. A chance to step into a future built on dignity, not fear. The room applauds once more, not just for justice served, but for hope restored. Calm returned. The billionaire walks out with dignity, her head held high. The waitress, now safe, smiles with tears in her eyes, knowing she changed everything with one note. The guests talk in hushed voices, realizing they witnessed more than a scandal, they witnessed justice. Final line. Respect cannot be bought with money, but it can be destroyed by cruelty. If you were in her place, would you walk away in silence or turn his humiliation into a lesson the world never forgets?